Welcome to Nice, in the south of France. Just behind me, you can see La Promenade des Anglais and the internationally renowned Negresco Hotel. Today, we're here to meet one of France's finest chefs who's going to create a recipe using all of the flavors from the south of France. In Nice's famous market, you can discover all of these flavors. It's here that I've asked to meet Christophe CANET. Who's here? Hello, Christophe. Hello, Philippe. Thanks for inviting us to Nice. It's a pleasure to welcome you to the Cours Salaya. Hello. Hello. Are you the queen of the Menton lemon? Yes. Is that right? All these little lemons, they're non-treated lemons, which are irregular because they grow without the use of chemicals. The skin hasn't been treated. You could rub it over sugar, of course. That would flavor the sugar, bring out the essential oils, which are found in the skin, simply by rubbing it on the sugar. And here you only need to give it a slight rub. You see, you can smell it, the intense flavors. Superb. Shall we go? Let's go. This is a glimpse of our range of desserts. Ah, for 4 people, 6 or 8 people, we have a range of about 15 desserts. And they're all here. Great. There you have it. So this is your shop. Welcome to our universe. We have a range of 30 to 35 bars. Great packaging, a nice visual. You can see through. Oh, it's sublime chocolate. And the fountain there. The chocolate fountain brings a lot of life to our chocolate counter. Right. People dream of dipping their finger in it. Here we're passing into the patisserie section. Little cakes. Which is the most refined, with a range of 20 individual pieces that we change with the seasons. Here we have the macaroons. A must. A range of macaroons. This works extremely well. They're snapped up quickly. Of course. A range of precious products. My wife, Mylène. Nice to meet you. Thank you for having us in your superb shop. It's a pleasure. It's very kind of you. Now we've organized an interview. Where do you propose we do it? We'll go into the tea room. In the ambience of the shop's tea room. Of course. Shall we go? Let's go. So, Christophe, we've toured your shop. It's beautiful. Now we'd like to discover a little about your personal journey. At some point, you said to yourself, I want to see other things. We've talked about that. And you said, why not Canada, the US? And then you went for your dream and spent how many years over there? 2 years? 2 years in the US. But there was a similarity to the coast here. And then I was with a French patisserie chef from Nice. We worked for Paillard. So it's not really a coincidence that I ended up back here in Nice. So you came back here. Right. That was in New York. Yes, New York. Afterwards, I was a patisserie chef at Vista Palace in Monaco. I stayed there for 2 years. That's where I met my wife. And then it all came naturally that we wanted to settle here. Yes, to settle here. We set up shop in 2003. After having worked in the restaurant business already. What I suggest is that now we discover one of your patisseries. Okay? If you'll show us your laboratory in which we'll discover one of your desserts that is called, it's called the Macena. It's a black currant base. That's the base. Then a thin disc made from caracraquine. That'll add crunch and a hint of caramel. Then we're going to insert a Menton lemon cream. Then we'll put it all together with a Saint-Domingue mousse. Okay, 70%. The basis for this biscuit is egg white that we've whisked up with sugar. Okay. Then we add some almond powder with a little bit of flour. We're going to incorporate black currants and lemon zest into the biscuit. So let's zest the lemon. We first just grate the first skin and leave the white layer that is more bitter. We use frozen black currants. We have to mix it up very well, and if the black currants were fresh, they'd get crushed. We'd have a compote, and that wouldn't work. When we start to have a marbled effect, we stop mixing. So we stop there, and we're going to put it directly into the mold. We're going to pour it into the non-stick baking tray. Then we're going to spread it out. We're going to use the full depth of the biscuit. Therefore, we'll have the crunch of the surface, the smoothness of the inside, and the fruit that will be in the first mouthful. So now we'll bake it. We're going to put it in the oven, 220, for 8 to 9 minutes. Great. The ingredients, we have lemon juice, Menton lemon, of course, Menton lemons, some eggs, some sugar cubes, Micrio butter. Micrio butter, 100% unscented cocoa butter in powder form. That will be our fixative. Great. Then some cooled butter, followed by the Menton lemons. We're going to take the lemon and grate it using the sugar. The sugar is going to absorb the essential oils from the lemon that are kept in the skin. We're going to start by pouring the lemon juice into the saucepan. Then we're going to pour in the sugar cubes. We're going to add the cooled eggs directly to the lemon juice and sugar as soon as the cream starts to simmer lightly. We'll take it off. We'll remove it as soon as it's cooked. We're going to pour the cream into the mixing bowl. Then we're going to incorporate the Micrio butter whilst it's still hot. The butter is going to thicken the mixture, so we pour it into the cream. We're now going to mix the lemon and the butter. There we go. We've got a smooth cream. Now we're going to put it straight onto the FlexiPan. And now we'll put it into the freezer. It goes into the freezer, the time it takes to harden so that we can use it later on in the dessert. Here are some of the ingredients we'll be using to make the base of the chocolate mousse. The base of this chocolate mousse is specific as it is made from cream. We'll get a smoother and richer texture. So, we'll add the Saint-Domingue chocolate and the crème fraîche, which has been whisked. 35% fat. A yogurt texture to incorporate it perfectly. We're going to pour the cream in the saucepan and let it boil. In the mixing bowl, we're going to pour in the castor sugar and the egg yolks. We see it's starting to boil. So we're going to pour it directly into your mousse mixture. There we go, a little at a time. We're going to pour the mixture directly into the saucepan. Yes, directly. There we go. We're going to heat it to 85. Using the hand whisk, we're going to turn it into a mousse. We can see the mixture is nearly ready. Exactly. We're seeing that a fillet is starting to form, but this will become more obvious in the cooling process. We're going to see that the mousse is beaten because of the heat that the whisk is giving off. Is that right? Exactly. We're going to pour it into the whisker and let it cool. Now we're whisking it up. There we go. Is that a good texture? A great texture. We've got something that is very smooth. That's perfect. It's cooled down to 20 degrees. So now we're going to incorporate a little of the whipped cream into the hot chocolate. What temperature is the chocolate at? Between 45 and 48. So we mix them together and we're going to obtain a sort of cream filling. So now we're going to put the mousse mixture entirely into the cream. Right, the two mixtures are very similar. We're going to have the best possible mixture. We'll pour this. There we go. Little at a time, little at a time. Into the chocolate. Perfect, here we go. We're going to assemble the dessert. We have the biscuit. The crust, we'll place the crust face down, creating a thin layer which will keep out the humidity. The first stage is to put a bit of mousse in the middle so that it sticks, and then between each level that we're going to add on top. We're going to crush the mousse against the edges to avoid any bubbles. We place the carré on top, which we poured into the flexi pan. Then we're going to put another layer of chocolate mousse. After, we're going to insert the lemon cream, which we have frozen in the flexi pan. It's just a millimeter, in the center of the dessert. There you go. We're going to finish with more mousse. Now we're going to smooth over the dessert. It may sink, so we're only going to lightly smooth it over. We're at the finishing stages of the Macena. The entremet has been made into a circle after some heating and freezing it to harden it. And now the icing stage. The icing is running off the palette knife to stop any bubbling, right? Exactly, to avoid any bubbles. When we think that the icing has started to thicken around the edges, we'll be able to put it onto the board. So now we're going to let it dry. The icing is very shiny. We're going to finish the dessert. A simple finishing touch. We've created a cutout form from the carré. Around the edge, we've made some little squares of chocolate, which are from the cocoa powder. We're going to place them around the sides of the cake. That's phyllo pastry. We're going to use a little bit of roasted and ground cocoa powder. We're going to put on some golden powder. And then we're going to put on golden sprinkles. Golden sprinkles on the black icing. Yes, a signature. The signature on the front of the cake. And there we have it, an important moment, of course. That most important moment is the tasting. Here we go. We have the lemony aspect, the crunchy carré aspect, the acidity of the black currants. It's all fabulous. Christophe, thanks for sharing today. Thank you for your welcome, your kindness, your generosity. And of course, I'd like to thank your team because we all work together. There are 4 to 5 chefs who work with you, and I think that's really important. Exactly. They're here. There they are, the pillars of the team. They are Mickey, who is the laboratory supervisor, Robin, who is the second, and then the youngsters are Antoine, Bertrand. There you go. There we go, the whole team. Thank you, everyone. And now, the chef's profile. Christophe, 3 questions. If you weren't a pastry chef, what would you be? I think I would have been an interior designer, even though I always wanted to be a pastry chef from the age of 3 years old. But being an interior designer, that would have pleased me. What are the most important values that you transmit to your team? They would be rigor in the work, passion for the job, and the love of doing a good job. What was your best experience abroad? Well, there were two. The first is having had the chance to spend the year 2000 in New York in Times Square. The second, more professionally, was to have been awarded by the U.S. pastry competition the best U.S. pastry chef in 2000.